Hey there! I'm so excited to be sharing this art journal page with you. It originally started out as a plan for a vision board. I wanted to prepare myself for the upcoming holiday season and get myself mentally and physically and emotionally prepared, but I decided to turn it into an art journal page. It felt like a better fit for me, and it's going to be a chance to gather my intentions and get ready for this season. And by doing it as an art journal, it's a chance to get really creative and do some collaging and lots of journaling, which are things I love to do. And so I hope if you decide to do this along with me, you get a chance to combine your reflections with your personal creativity and capture all those intentions and all that goodness in art and words and texture. So part one of this project is about reflecting and setting intentions with words. I'm going to be journaling directly on the surface, on the paper of my art journal. I set up a peaceful space. On my table, I've got my new candle lit that has a great smell. I went out in my garden and found a few fall blooms that were still looking pretty that I brought in. I collected up. I have some prayer beads that are a favorite of mine that are sort of all the colors of the beach and the ocean, which is such a special place for me. So I've got those, and these are made of glass, so I love right now. They're cool, but when I wear it, they heat up. And I've got a couple pieces of driftwood, some special shapes that I picked on a beach walk. And that was November of last year. And that was a really nice way for me to start the holiday season and really get into a good mindset before things started. So I wanted to channel a bit of that in this project too. I pulled out a few different writing tools. You could use absolutely anything from pen to pencil to crayon to marker. It really doesn't matter. I picked just a few basic black Tombow pens that I will use, and then a couple fun colors in Posca paint markers. So I'm going to just write freely. The questions that I came up with that I'm going to be writing about are ones that you can use, or you can certainly choose your own. One of the questions is, what emotions or qualities do you want to embody this season? So I've been thinking about this since I wrote that question, and I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I don't want it to be long and complicated. I want to keep it pretty streamlined. So that's what I'm going to start journaling about first. This season, I want to embody a calm grace. I want to stay grounded in the present moment as much as possible. I want to listen intentionally to others and also to myself. I want to listen to what my body is telling me, listen to what my mind and gut are saying, and respect all the emotions that I'm feeling. The word that keeps coming up as I'm writing and as I'm thinking about this question is slow. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to call it slow living. This is something that I work towards all the time. I want to slow down. I want to not rush. Be okay with quiet downtime and allow for things to unfold as they are and not try to control them. The next question that I came up with that I wanted to journal about is, what do I need to let go of to create space for joy and peace? I need to let go of these preconceived ideas of what the holidays are supposed to be about. So I'm going to write a bit about that. I appreciate all that I have. I have my health, 2 of my children nearby. I have a few special friends to spend time with. I have my home that I can decorate and make cozy and festive and magical for the season. I have nature around me to enjoy and ground me on my daily dog walks. I have my art to feed my soul, fuel my spirit, and allow me to stay present in the moment and feel joy. I feel like I could go on and on with this one, but I'm going to stop there because I made a plan that I wasn't going to make these complicated. I wanted to make them kind of simple. Just engaging in this process already. I'm feeling a mix of emotions, but I'm definitely feeling emotional for what I have, what I'm missing, and just emotional for, I think I'm feeling a bit of hope that maybe I can enter into this holiday season with a different mindset and be able to have a little less heartache and a little more joy. So the last question I came up with is, how do I want to show up for myself and others through the holidays? I want to love myself. And to love myself, I need to be kind. I need to give myself grace. I need to get rest when I need it. I need to eat good foods that fuel me. I need to find time for exercise and nature. And I think the other one is I need to actively create things to do, not sit back and get a victim mentality or a poor me mentality of, I haven't been invited anywhere, I don't have anything to do. I need to actively either include myself and invite myself into other people's plans, or I need to create plans, either for myself or ones where I invite others to be a part of them as well. So I'm going to call that being proactive. And I think to do that, I need to be vulnerable a bit and reach out and let people know that I need them, or that I want time with them. I need to reach out. And so that was about how I show up for myself and how I show up for others. And so for others, you can see I just made a mistake there, and that's fine. I meant to mention that in the very beginning. Don't worry about neatness or scribbles or writing in different directions, crossing things out. This is just for you. And if you feel limited by words and you're not a word person and you just want to doodle or draw, go for it. That is absolutely fine. I just tend to be a word person. I think I want to check in on people. People check in on me by text or email, phone calls, just to see if I'm okay. And I really appreciate that. And I want to be able to, now that I'm feeling a little stronger in my own life, I want to be able to check in on others. And maybe family. I don't really have many people to check in with, but I'm sure there's some I could that would appreciate that. And I'm going to put in here acts of kindness too. I know that doing things for others and doing acts of kindness is actually one of the best things to lift your own mood and your own spirits. So I think I need to do more of that. It's something I like to do. Sometimes I get just such heavy feelings over the holidays that I don't. Hopefully me talking about this doesn't make this feel heavy, because this is a joyful process. Maybe this is the heaviest part, the journaling part, and from here we're going to lift it up with joyful layers. But acts of kindness, so doing things for others. What's coming to mind is maybe volunteering in my village with local events that happen. I have little bits of art cards that I've done for courses and demos, and maybe I need to gift some art. And I think the other one's going to tie into the loving myself, which is invites. Invite people to do things with me, whether it's something I'm hosting here at home or whether it's just getting together for a coffee or a walk or a shopping trip. I'm going to keep this general, just invite others to do things. I didn't know what this would be like doing this journaling, but it feels really good. So hopefully you have the same experience that I do. Hopefully it's not too emotional of a journey. And if you're a person who just loves the holidays and has wonderful experiences on the holidays, then this is going to be maybe a little simpler and more joyful, and it'll be more about focusing in on you and your own self-care throughout it. Obviously, this is going to be unique to each of us. As you're writing, I encourage you to notice any recurring themes. Notice words that are really resonating with you, and maybe you write those words larger like I did. Maybe you put them in another color. Maybe you circle them. Just reflect on them a little bit. So slow living, staying grounded, present in the moment, not rushing, feeling okay with quiet downtime. I love it all. These are all great things. And this is such a positive one here. Cozy, festive, magical, making my home have all those feelings. I've got nature in my art, acts of kindness. So now I'm going to put all this to rest a little bit. And I'm going to use some white gesso. I love using gesso in my art. I just find it mellows out whatever's underneath it. And if I'm wanting to sort of calm down collage papers that I've put down, or just have everything feel a little more in harmony with each other, this is a great way to do it. For this, I'm just going to put some gesso right it on my journal pages, and I'm not worried about covering all of it at all. I actually would like some of it to stay and show through. I just mostly want to send some of it into the background and just lay this to rest. All these feelings, all these thoughts, all these plans, and just sealing them in. I know they're there. I've had the experience of thinking and writing them, and I loved it. And now I'm just gonna make room for what's next in this process. And this is, again, you don't have to do this. You can just leave your journaling showing as you go into the next layer. You can cover it all completely. You can cover parts. Just kind of go with what's feeling right for you. And you could certainly use a paint color as well. If you want some of what's underneath to show through, I recommend using a paint that's a translucent paint that isn't opaque. And I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. And I want to share with you the materials that I've collected for the collage part of this project. I went on a dog walk first thing this morning before I came down into my studio. And I just collected a few things in nature. I love that. I call it soul foraging. And I love when you're in nature and you're looking for things that catch your eye, the color, the texture, maybe where they are. Maybe they symbolize something for you. But by doing that, you're really present in the time you're in nature, and you're not thinking about other things, and you're really soaking up all the good energy that way. And so that's something I love to do. So this morning there was a little piece of white birch laying on my path, so I brought that in. I think my favorite thing with white birch is this color, this peachy pink color that's on the backside. I just absolutely love it, and I'll often cut little gift tags and cards right out of pieces of birch that I find. Try to find things on the ground if you want to do this. Try not to pull them off trees. That's just me. That's what I feel better about anyway. But this is really fun to do Christmassy or seasonal things with. I found a few little pine cones on the pathway. I love that they're dusted with the little bits of white, almost like I know commercially they'll paint white bits on pine cones to give them this look, and I like that they're just naturally that way. And a couple little pieces of evergreen because they just feel like this time of year and this season for me. And then I grabbed a few leaves. I grabbed an oak leaf because I love oak trees, and I just thought that was the richest, most beautiful brown color. And then being Canadian, I grabbed a couple maple leaves. They're a little bit past their best, but I've got one beautiful red one, and then one that fell off when it hadn't quite changed yet. And it's just really pretty with the greens and the orange. And then this is from a cherry tree as well, and it's such a pretty red. So that's what I collected up from nature. I might not In fact, I probably won't use this in my art, but you never know. I might use this on one of my journal pages. But I like to do this kind of collecting and then have it around me as I create, so it can inspire my art practice, and it's a way to tap back into all the good feelings I have when I am out in nature. So I'm just going to set these off to the side here. And I went through a couple magazines that I received recently and just randomly pulled out stuff. I find it really relaxing to flip through magazines as sort of one of my initial processes when I'm starting a new collage project. And this I pulled out, and I thought it would just be really fun and simple if I wanted to do maybe a string of birds across my journal page somewhere where I'm just making dots with my paint and putting on some little legs. So that's just as an idea of something I might do. Another thing I pulled out is I've been really attracted to graffiti lately, and thinking about how fun it would be to try to learn some basic graffiti and add it into my art. So I have this as an inspiration. Maybe I'll pull this, like cut this out or rip this out and add it right on, or maybe I'll try to do something in with my own lettering. So that's for inspiration as well. And then I'm just going to show you some of the papers that I've collected. I'll show you one other thing. I also pulled this out because I thought at some point this might be fun to color when I just have one of those moments where I need to relax and just focus in a present way, and coloring can do that. I'm going to keep this in for a time when I need it. I pulled out this little image. It says "Stay Cozy," and the words "this year." So I pulled out a mix of pictures and words. Flowers, hearts, don't search for happiness, create it yourself. Another flower. Really listen, which ties in with my journaling. Express what's going on inside me, which is again tying into me trying to be a bit more vulnerable and let people know what I need. And cozy, a cozy Christmas tea. And again, another cozy one with books and tea and nature and flowers, all the things I love. And I pulled out these little Christmas balls that I thought could be fun to add onto my journal page, maybe. Some Christmas berries. I'm giving. I've talked about how giving can be one of the things that makes you feel so good. And I pulled out this with the number 24, and it's not for Christmas Eve, believe it or not. This is the 24th of November, and that's my daughter's birthday. The daughter who's not with me right now, who's out there in the world, and I worry about her every day. That's her birthday. She'll be turning 20. She left home on her 16th birthday, which feels like a lifetime ago now. So that's a pretty significant number for me. And I just love this. I love things made of felted wool, and I just love the feeling of this, the colors and the maternal feelings of the mother and the child and the gathering with the baskets. So it just sort of spoke to me. A flower, I thought maybe it'd be fun to have some uncolored flowers maybe in the very top layer in the journal. Another cup of tea. I love tea, I guess. I do love tea. This said fairy lights and warm socks, and it says make your house lovely and cozy. And those are definitely things that I want to do this season. Embrace the darker days. I thought this one was really important because there are going to be those days that maybe things feel a little bit heavy, and know that they are just those days and they happen, and the next day you're probably going to feel really different. So dreams and passion, beauty. I'm not really sure why I pulled those out. Obviously, I liked how they made me feel. Hidden beauty. Some Virginia creeper vines, which I have it all over my yard and over my house, that I might incorporate into my journal page. And then this little clipboard page, and I thought I might write on it because it says, "Let's do this." And I might include a few ideas from my journaling right on there. Very last one time for nature and each other. So that's what I came up with for little bits and pieces. I have to say, I haven't done a journal page in a long time, and I'm really excited about this. I had a real struggle. I wanted to do it on a canvas or an art board because then it's something that I can, create in a way that I can put it in the gallery and sell it. And then I'm being more productive. And I had a big internal struggle with this. I managed to quell that desire. I am going to create in my art journal, so it's very personal. It's very much for me. It does not have a multi-purpose to it. It's been a long time since I did that, and I really need to do this. So I'm glad that that part of me managed to win out for this project. So now it's time to turn your reflections into an art journal page. This process is meant to be playful and intuitive. We're going to layer images, textures, and colors to represent our seasonal intentions. So you could start by adding a base layer. You could add paint, watercolor wash, some collage papers, really anything you want. Maybe you could add color that aligns with the feelings you want to evoke, soft blues or whites for peace, warm oranges for joy. You can even leave bits of your original journaling visible, which I intend to do, and it'll add to the page's texture and interest. And it also symbolizes how your intentions are woven into this seasonal plan. So think about layering with intention as you go and try to give things a bit of a purpose, but also don't get weighed down by that. I think it's important to be free and flowing with this process, with any art process. So I'm going to take some of the pieces that I've collected up and I like to hand tear them down into the shapes and sizes that I want. And I thought about sort of prepping off camera and placing things in different spots and having a bit of a preconceived plan of how I was going to go about doing this. But then I decided not to. I thought it would be more meaningful to just do the whole thing live and just see how things go. One thing I did off camera was I do think I want to use this mother and child. I found a couple butterflies that have a little bit of a gold sheen to them, and I'm going to probably create some wings and give them a bit of a fairy dusting. So I think I'm going to add some wings on to them. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do that. And so obviously this is going to be fairly central to the page and probably end up being the main focal point. I'm not even sure where this little circle of fabric came from, but maybe it wants to be included. I'm just going to start kind of shaping things and adding them in and dropping them on the page and just seeing what happens. Did cut out that piece of graffiti. I really don't know that it fits, but maybe the fact that it's such a dramatic contrast from the felted wool dolls, maybe that's interesting, because I think we are all a bit of contrasting, maybe even conflicting things. We've got our edgy parts and we've got our softer, more traditional parts. I pulled this out I saw the little ladybug, and I know ladybugs are a symbol of good luck. If I was going to put this on where it says embrace the darker days, it might be something that I want to have in there for my own personal reasons, but I might not want it showing. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to just start laying things down, starting with paper collage, and then I'm going to add in some color to blend the colors of the collage papers into the rest of the page. I'm going to use a little bit of regular gel medium in matte to start to put some of the collage pieces down. If you don't have medium, you could certainly use a glue stick or Mod Podge or just regular white glue if that's what you have. For an art journal, for yourself, there aren't really any rules, and I would recommend using what you have. I'm going to give her kind of her own space and her own page, and then there's time to spread out around her. I'm just going to kind of remove all the straight edges so it's got a bit more of an organic feel to it. But I'm going to go ahead and put her on so that I can work out from there. I don't want to put a whole bunch of little pieces on and then feel like I don't have a proper space for her and she's crowded in. I say her, I guess I should say them. I'm not worrying at all about covering up my journaling. I'm not thinking about what I'm covering up or if there's certain parts that I want to leave exposed. The journaling for me in this project, the journaling was personal. It was for me. It was part of setting some intentions, and I know it's there and I don't need to worry about leaving certain parts showing. If some of it's showing in the end, I think that'll be great, but I'm not going to let it kind of make me feel less free as I move forward. So even though she obviously wouldn't look like that, I may go ahead and just put some wings on for fun. Obviously the placement of the wings wouldn't be far out on her sides, but no rules in this. I think of nature as grounding, so I'm going to build this into the ground underneath them. the other big piece is this one. Maybe we can ground it into the bottom as well. I think I'm going to put it here, and knowing that it's going to be part of the fold, I'm going to go ahead and put a fold in here that I'll use for placement. And this is a big thick piece of paper, so I'm going to put the medium on the back, and I'm going to be fairly generous about how much I put on, and that way I can make sure I've got the whole thing covered. And then placing it so that my fold hits the fold in the book. There we go. My plan for this little piece is I've got the books stacked up with the teacup and the bird, and I'm going to stack this right on top of it. Color-wise, these kind of go together, and they certainly don't go together in other ways in their style, but I think I may put them together. And I don't want the cut lines around the teacup. Try to get rid of all or most of them. And I know I've already got a teacup here, so maybe this will be one that gets a little covered with words. Now it's kind of darker at the bottom, which I'm intentionally doing. I think it can be darker at the bottom and then lighten as it goes up. I'm doing this fairly quickly, which I'm sure you can see, and I'm trying not to spend a lot of time worrying about placement. Now I may want the vines going around the outside. The vines are the flowers, so I'm not going to put this right at the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit of space on the edge to build around it, because it's sort of a big white blob, and I'm going to want to blend it in with everything else a bit more. And I will write on that, but I'm going to put medium on it first and let it dry. I'm going to use the straight edge of this and build it along the side of the journal, and I'm going to put it right in here. This feels like it may be too light. but maybe I will add it in and I can always darken it up with paint. These red berries I could also draw and paint on. This type of thing, I don't need to use paper collage for it, so I may or may not. I'm just going to rip it out and see how it looks. Sometimes I just really enjoy building the layers, and even if it's something that I could draw, I just enjoy this aspect of it so much. So these are actually separate pieces I'm seeing as I'm ripping it, so that might be even more fun because I can kind of sprinkle them here and there. This will be something that I probably do a little later on when I've got most things in their places. You don't need to rip all the paper off like I am. I like to do this. You could paint over it as well. Just put it on whole and paint over it. Maybe I'll make that flower more red if I do use it. And this is fairly big, and I do want it on here to really listen, so maybe I will put it on while I've still got a good space for it. This feels really central. I spend a lot of time, I get caught up in my own head, and I think I need to get out of it and really listen to what people are saying, and also to really listen to myself, to my body, its signals, my emotions, all of it, like I journaled about. Listen to my gut. Fairy lights and warm socks. I really do want this on there. I don't want to cover it either. I think it's just too sweet. It might be fun to do some fairy lights, and maybe this is up here as part of the inspiration for that. Maybe my fairy lights tie into this idea that I'd saved with the idea of the fingerprints of paint and making little birds, and maybe I do fingerprints of paint the color of fairy lights and I make a string of fairy lights that way instead. I like the idea of that. Got my little tiny ladybug. That maybe just sits over here. This is a piece of fabric, but it can go on the same way. Just about at the point where I'm either going to place the vines and the berries and put them on and then add paint and color to start blending everything, or I add paint and color and then add the extras. But I also think with all the white in the background of all these, it might be a really good idea to get them onto the page so I can start blending them in sooner rather than later. also, if I want to do fairy lights, maybe the berries and the fairy lights can all kind of be intertwined at the top. Trying not to cover up fairy lights in warm socks, but I'm having a hard time with that. I'm figuring I can use paint or a marker and connect the branch there so it looks like it's all one. Okay, I'm really loving everything that's happening. I think I'm going to go ahead and decide on the placement of the vines, and then I'm going to take a break, make a cup of tea, then come back with plans to add some color. I think I like how those both fill the space like that. I'm gonna let this dry for a minute, make a tea, and come back with fresh eyes and plan adding some color. I'm just really happy with all this collage.